Here we go. Factors that affect demand, and demand drives supply. Here are all the factors. Now, this might seem like a lot, but it is your best friend. It's your tool. I spent a lot of time just combing through every. Now, like there are other factors that could exist in the real world, but these are the ones that you're going to see in the exam. Okay, so let's say you're in good times. I know we've been talking about bad times a lot. Let's say you're in good times and you want to curb those good times. Now, you might say, why do you want to be a party killer? And like I said before, it's because if you don't start to curb the good times while they're going, then when the bad times come, they're going to really crash and really hurt you. If you have high highs, you're going to have low lows. So you want to try to, as the government, you want to try to, meet in the middle and just, yes, have good times, but curb them in, right? Make sure people aren't going absolutely crazy. Now, you want to create contractionary policies. Here is where we're, if we're talking the business cycle, which we will see, you might be familiar with. Actually, I'll just show you quick. Business cycle, right? We go up and we go down. So, here we're going up. It's 2006, 2007. Everything's looking great. Oh no, we're going down. Recession hits here. We're going down into a trough, and then going up, and then we're here in a peak and a contraction. You want to memorize these. That the bottom of this cycle is a trough and the top is a peak. But here's what we're going to do. This affects what we are going to enact in terms of our policy. We want contractionary policy. We want to, slowly take it down so the lows don't go too low. And when we're at the bottom, we want expansionary policy to help bring us back up to our, peak. Now, another common thing, this isn't necessarily a recession. This is a recession. This isn't an expansion. This is the expansion. Just keep that in mind as we're talking about our factors. Back to these here. And let's just think about this. I'm going to throw out different relationships. Okay. So, if we want an increase in inflation, right? If we want a decrease in government bonds, like these go hand in hand with each other. Go over here, sure. So this is just by default what we'll look at, because generally, and it's like in the real world, when things are good, they don't want to hamper the good, but when things get bad, the government tries to really help alleviate those burdens. Okay, so what we want is a right shift in demand curve, which quantity and demanded and price goes up, which is good. Now that's expansionary policy, trying to bring us back up on that curve on the business cycle. We want to be on the up. Okay, that means, well, what do? We increase the money supply. Increasing the money supply, we want to decrease interest rates. That means that more money is going to be available. It's going to increase the money supply. These all go hand in hand. Decrease. I'll just show you like this. We want to increase the money supply. So what do? We decrease interest rates. That allows me as the individual to borrow more money, or banks or businesses to borrow more money. What does that do? That increases wealth. Okay. Well, an increase in wealth increases asset prices. All right. And what does that do? That causes inflation. Okay. And that decreases government bonds, because government bonds are viewed as stable investments, right? There's like no risk at all, risk-free rate. We've talked about that or if you haven't seen it yet, we will talk about that in our financial sections, right? That is going to decrease deflation, which is the same as increasing inflation, but I put it there to display for you. And also, a decrease in the tax rate is going to be correlated. Not all these are directly correlated, but these are all expansionary policies. If you want the economy to boom, you decrease the tax rate, or you increase government spending. That results in general confidence increasing. Increases in business investing because they have more capital, they have more cash. Increase in employment, they have more cash, they hire more employees. They have more employees, they make more goods, those employees have more cash in their hands, and demand gets pulled up. The US dollar increases relative to other currencies. All of these are so related. You see interconnected web here. General confidence goes up. Purchasing power decreases because of inflation. Now, yes, you have more money, but because there's more money, the value of each dollar goes down. And it's just all these factors. They all play into account. And it's the same thing here. You see the same factors, but here it's on the opposite side. So now we are also looking at our supply factors, producers. Okay, well, what are these? These are the three factors that you want to look at that affect supply. Obviously, there's a lot more factors that affect demand. That's just how it works. So, what affects supply? Well, supply is affected by producers. This is McDonald's and Best Buy and all those companies. And consumers, they consume and they control demand. Now, demand can also be affected by our Fed and our federal government. Producers, well, supply shock, number of suppliers, and the input price changes. So, supply will decrease if the price of everything is to go up. That's just makes sense, right? Like if the price to make a bunch of TVs goes up, well, we'll probably just make less TVs because we just don't have as much money to make those TVs. Number of suppliers. Okay, well, obviously, if less suppliers exist, then we're going to have less supply of goods. That makes sense. If we have more suppliers, we're going to have more supply of goods. Supply shock. This is supply shock's an event that could happen that like suddenly happens. So, term shock. Think about that. It suddenly increases or decreases, like the supply of commodity or service, or in general, right? That could be all of a sudden. I mean, a big earthquake happens in China where a lot of electronics are produced. That would be supply shock, or maybe all of a sudden, the world is the world runs on gold, and all of a sudden we find a giant gold mine. That would be supply shock, and in a good way. So all of a sudden we find a bunch of gold. So supply shock, number of suppliers, input price changes. Labor gets more expensive or cheaper. Materials get more expensive or cheaper there as well. Gosh, this is a lot of great talking. I'm having a good time. I hope you are having a great time as well. Memorize this, take a look. It's a wonderful, wonderful chart. Just here for your benefit, and I hope you enjoy. I'll keep referring to this as we go throughout our economic sections. Hey there! Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material? We'll do it together. Tap into the power of CPA.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.